What is going on, guys? Sorry for a little bit delay. I had something pop up last minute, but here we are, and we're going to talk about the Game Awards last night, the Jeff Keighley produced Video Game Awards, which I'm sure everybody looks forward to every single year. All right, there we go. Making sure my audio is okay, which it is. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat, which I think everybody can. All right, so man, the Game Awards. I was actually looking forward to this because there was rumors that we were going to get a lot of cool trailers, and it's always nice to see games that you think should get the recognition they deserve for winning. Right? Jez isn't here with me, Voidmaster. This is just me by myself. He is currently playing World of Warcraft like a nub with Roby One and Beard and a couple other guys. They wanted me to play World of Warcraft, but I didn't, and I never have, and I probably never will. So they tried to drag me into World of Warcraft, but I wasn't having it. So I just want to thank you guys for this joining me for this impromptu podcast. I see Mark's there, Voidmaster One, Vogelus Craig, Rump Roastrich. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me. I don't know how long this is going to be. Maybe it'll be short, maybe it'll be long, but I wanted to give my thoughts about basically who won the awards, what they showed there, some of the new stuff. And I mean, right off the bat, I got to hand it to Jeff Keighley. From where the Game Awards were in 2013, you remember when they had, it was Jeff Keighley and it was Joe McHale, and it was so bad. So bad. All right, I'll call you Orbital, man. It was just so bad. Remember that? To see where it's come all the way from to right now, 2017, I thought the show was pretty good. In fact, I think it was the best one they've put on, which I guess some people will say that's not really much of a compliment, but it was way better than last year's. A lot of games that won I felt were pretty deserving. And they showed a lot of cool games, a lot of nice teases, a lot of new stuff. So I was impressed with the show, and I look forward to Jeff really improving the concept as it goes forward. Of course, there was that one moment with the dude from A Way Out, Joseph Fiennes, or I forget his name. I always screw up his last name, but man, he'll have the most talked about segment. And some people were like, hey, maybe he shouldn't have done that. That's why people laugh at gamers, as he was doing the whole F the Oscars thing, right? And I will agree with Mark. I enjoyed it as well, but I felt it kind of did go on too long, though. It kind of dragged. I think it went on for 2 hours, or 3 hours, basically. 3 hours, And yeah, Paladin, I did see the MPD stuff. I don't necessarily think they're rumors. I mean, it's pretty much confirmed. Maybe if we have time, we'll talk about that at the end. But let's just kind of start out at the beginning during the pre-show. They showed off a trailer for World War Z. Now, I was watching this whole thing with my buddies. I was in a chat with Maka91. We were in a chat with Loveboat Gopher and a couple other people, so we were all talking. It was funny, getting everyone's reactions, thinking about what the game was going to be, and we were also predicting, what award was going to be won, right? So it starts off, and it was just the zombie game, and we weren't sure what it was. We were like, man, what is this game? And as soon as they started climbing up the building, I'm like, oh, well, that's World War Z. And sure enough, World War Z gets announced. Not really sure the date, but it's going to be interesting. It's a book turned into a movie, and now a video game based on the movie. So it's cool. Looking forward to it. And then we get Dr. Disrespect, who won Trending Gamer of the Year. He's the one I voted for. He's the only one I really knew of besides Andrea Renee from Kind of Funny Gaming. So I thought he was the only one that stood a chance. I really don't watch a lot of Twitch streamers. I know who he is, but I've never really watched one of his streams. So it's one of those things where it's I voted for him because I knew he was going to win because he was the one I knew. But it's I never watched him, And then we get to the best score music, which Nier Automata won. People tell me deservedly so. That's one of the games I haven't played yet. And that was like kind of the one I wanted Destiny 2 to win. Not because I'm that big of a fan of Destiny, but because I felt one of the best things about Destiny 2 and even about Destiny, in fact, all of the Bungie games that come out are the score. They always have a great score for their games. So I predicted Destiny 2 and Nier 1. So I mean, I don't know what the music is in Nier. My buddy Gopher says it's great, but that was the first award given out. And then they showed off a lot of VR games. We had Vacation Simulator VR coming to like pretty much every VR platform, and Accounting Plus VR coming to PSVR. A lot of VR stuff, which I guess is great if you're really into VR, as like a lot of people are. More games for that platform is always a good thing, right? So I saw Vacation Simulator VR and I was like, why would anybody want to play this? I don't know. I enjoyed Destiny's 2 score, Red Hood. I thought it was one of the better ones. I thought it was actually better than Destiny 1, but what are you gonna do about it? And Accounting VR, I mean, it kind of seemed funny. I know it's from the creators of like Rick and Morty and stuff, right? But even then, it was like, am I really? I don't know. That's not exactly what I would want to play VR for, right? They announced that Forza 7 won best racing game / sports game, and I hate. You know what I really don't like, and they need to fix this. Is they have all these categories and all these awards, right? But most of the time, they don't even like give them out. It's like he'll just get up on stage and he'll be like, and so won this award, and so won this award, and so won this award, and so won this award. But like they give out, you know, they have these long trailers and all this stuff, and it's just like, man, I wish the show was a little bit more dedicated to actually recognizing the games instead of just like reading them off a card, I don't really like that as like an award thing. I wish like every game kind of got its shine, because it would be nice to see, the Forza 7 guys turn 10 come up there and shout out what they, who they liked, or the Persona 5. Because even Persona 5, they won Best RPG, but they didn't get to come up on stage at all. And it was a lot of them, like a lot of the awards were handed off. Like, it's just like, oh, by the way, so-and-so won. I'm not a fan of that. Hey, what's going on, Creepy? How you doing today? Hope everybody's having a good time. It's Friday. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. I'm looking to play some Hello Neighbor, because I got that. And I'm also, I decided I'm going to probably play through Uncharted Legacy soon. So I figured I can run through Uncharted Legacy, maybe put that in my Game of the Year running for the games I played. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through Horizon yet, but I figured I can run through Uncharted Legacy pretty fast. Lost Legacy. But yeah, I wish they would give the awards out, so people aren't, so they can get their due respect for making a really great game. That's what I like. That's what I would like to see. And then here we go, the first big tease. And I gotta agree, before we get into the tease, D.I. Almighty Spartan God said that the loot crate joke was the best thing of the show. I gotta admit, when Zachary Levi got up there and he said that joke about how it costs like microtransactions to basically to like open up the ballot, I was dying because that was just so on the nose and just so funny. And you could tell people in the audience agreed as well. They thought it was pretty hysterical. Like that was truly something funny there, and very on the nose. And a lot, there was a lot of shade thrown out. A lot of shade at EA, a lot of shade at microtransactions, even some shade thrown at Sony and stuff, which is kind of weird, but we'll get to all of that. So Bloodborne 2, which is it Bloodborne 2? I don't know, because it showed this really small, short clip of like a torture chamber device or something, and then it just said Shadows Die Twice, and it said From Software. And people are speculating, like, what is this? What could it be? Is this Bloodborne 2? Is this Tenchu Z? Or something? I've seen people talking about it like that, but I think it's Bloodborne 2. I wonder if they're going to reveal more of that tonight at PSX, or if that was just the tease for the Game Awards. I mean, it kind of looked like Bloodborne, which I know everybody wants to is hoping it's going to be. I did see there is some sort of scandal, or if you want to call it scandal. So I was watching this on Mixer, and I did see it come up, but when right before the From Software logo came up, they played an ad for Wolfenstein, which I thought was weird. So some people are saying, well, Microsoft didn't want them to show off, an ad for a game that's not coming to Xbox. But I mean, like, a lot of this award show was advertisements for games not coming to Xbox. So, like, I don't understand. I mean, if you go along with the conspiracy theory of, like, they don't want Xbox gamers to see, Bloodborne 2 or whatever, but yet they let Death Stranding, an 8-minute advertisement for PlayStation, as well as like Bayonetta 3 and all that stuff run, which is advertisements not for the system. I kind of don't like believe it was malicious. Like, I don't think so. I think it was just maybe a miscued up ad or something. Because the whole awards game show thing was like a huge ad for Nintendo and PlayStation anyways, because they have a lot of exclusive games. So either way, who knows what it's going to be? Maybe we find out tonight in a few hours at PSX. Maybe they'll talk more about Bloodborne 2. Maybe they won't. But I know a lot of From Software's fans, a lot of Souls fans are really excited for that. Yeah, so... But the next category that came up was Best Narrative. And I got to say, I was extremely, extremely happy. Extremely happy because What Remains of Edith Finch won Best Narrative. And that is one of my favorite games of this year. It will be my Game of the Year category, my Game of the Year list. And I was just so happy for them because... it was just that game is all about narrative. It's made from such a small studio. It's 2 hours long, and like I was just so happy for them when they got up on do with the beard and the lady. She was like stumbling over her words. Like, I was so happy, and this award show started off so good. I was like, yes, man. Like, Edith Finch gets recognized for the award it should have won, Best Narrative. I know some people will quibble and quabble over whether or not it's a game because it's a walking simulator, but you can't deny that Edith Finch has one of the best narratives and best stories that came out this year. So bravo to them. And then we got a look at another game coming out that was, Campo Santo's the Firewatch, their next game. And I liked Firewatch a lot. I know a lot of people that do. And this is a must buy, although it's coming out in 2019. So that, we have to wait a long time to wait for that. But man, In the Valley of the Gods, that game looked really cool, and it had a really good trailer with some really great music attached to it. I can't wait for that game. Unfortunately, it sounds like the game is a long way away. Who knows if it even comes out in 2019 or not, right? I think that game's going to be great, and I was surprised. So it was like, we get a Bloodborne, 2 teas potentially. We get a Firewatch's Campo Santo's next game. I'm like, man, this delivering. Edith Finch won, Forza 7 won. Like, I was nailing all my predictions. I was feeling good. I'm like, I'm going to win, because we had a little contest among my friends, and I was doing the best. And then the next award was Best Action, and sure enough, one of my favorite games of the year, potentially my game of the year, Wolfenstein 2 wins Best Action Game. And it deserves it. Wolfenstein 2 is a great game. I'm so happy it won Best Action Game. I couldn't be... I like the way this whole thing started, I couldn't be happier. It was like, oh, man, all these games I predicted won, and they're all really good games, too. And then here comes the Hideo Kojima Del Toro Love Fest. They come out, they show a trailer for Shape of the Water, which is I think Del Toro's next movie. So if you're wondering whatever happened to the scaly guy from Hellboy, well, I guess this is where he ended up, and that's kind of a joke, but because I don't think it's the same character. And they give out Best Art Direction, and this is where the Love Fest for Cuphead comes in, because Cuphead won a lot of awards, and rightfully so. I thought, Best Art Direction was in the bag for Cuphead, because that game just looks gorgeous. It's basically a recreation of like the old 1930 cartoons, and it's such a great game. So I'm really happy to see not only the developers, Studio MDHR, get recognized for their hard work, but also it's nice to see gamers reward that hard work, because they just, they announced over 1 million a while back. We know it hit over 1 million on PC just recently. So, I mean, who knows how many, copies this game is going to go on to sell. It's a fantastic game, and it's great to see it not only recognized, but rewarded with great sales. And who knows, maybe down the road we see Cuphead 2, right? I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Cuphead 2 probably take just as long to make the game, but it's a known thing now. People love Cuphead. Then they had the segment for Zelda, which, here's the thing. I don't really have a Switch, and I've told this story plenty of times on plenty of podcasts. I'm not a Nintendo fan, right? I'm an Xbox fan. That's my primary platform. I was a PlayStation fanboy during the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 era. So PlayStation and Xbox, they kind of like, to me, that's gaming. Even though I grew up with Nintendo, like it was my first system, my next Nintendo system wasn't really until GameCube. So it's like, I kind of missed out on all that stuff. So I don't have the revere or respect or the love for, Zelda and all these other games that a lot of people do. So when Zelda comes out and I see it, and it just doesn't do anything for me. But I want to get a Switch, which we'll talk about for reasons why in a little bit. And it was pretty cool that they showed off this trailer, and they have Link riding a motorcycle in Zelda, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about it. And they said it's available tonight. I always love it. I always love it when game companies, whether it's Sony, Xbox, or Nintendo, I always love it when they do the it's available today or available tonight, because it's like a little surprise you get. I know it happens a little bit here and there at E3. I didn't expect it to really happen today, or during the Game Awards show. It was like, I didn't expect Zelda DLC to be available like right at that moment. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like the fact that it was like, yeah, it's available tonight, and all you Zelda fans can get out there and play it. That was pretty cool. And then they showed a trailer for Bandai Namco's next fighting game, which was kind of leaked a week before, along with the Devil May Cry 5 info. And that's Soul Calibur 6, which is coming out in 2018. It's coming to all platforms. I enjoy Soul Calibur. It's not my favorite fighter. I'll probably pick it up when it does come out, but it's nice to see them continue on with the franchise. And it's, I mean, they got some, I mean, you look back at the reveals, they got some heavy hitters. I mean, potentially Bloodborne 2, Campo Santo's next game, Soul Calibur, that's Stranding. I mean, there was a lot of, Bayonetta 3. I mean, there was a lot of heavy hitting games. Sea of Thieves, like that they were able to get new trailers for or debuts for. I mean, Jeff was pretty much killing it. So Soul Calibur 6 next year. And then then they started giving out awards just like, oh, here's an award, here's an award, here's an award, here's an award. And it was like, yo, slow down. Like, Persona 5 won Best RPG, which I thought they would. Last of Us 2 won Most Anticipated, which I thought they would. It's Last of Us. Last of Us is like the most anticipated game there is, because Last of Us 1 is, like, Last of Us 1's like the best game from last gen, which I just played this year. And honestly, Last of Us 1 is the best game I played this year. Playing it for the first time, out of all the games I played this year, if I had to make a game of the year top 10, which I am doing, but it's only going to be for games released this year. If I were to include every single game I played this year, without respect to the year it came out, Last of Us 1 is the best game I played this year. So, I had no doubt Last of Us 2 was going to win most anticipated. I know some people thought Red Dead Redemption 2 would win, but Red Dead Redemption 2, I know it's from Rockstar, but the thing is, Red Dead Redemption, as big as it is and as much as people like it, it's not Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, okay, if it was Last of Us 2 versus Grand Theft Auto 6, then possibly Grand Theft Auto 6 wins. Probably. Because Grand Theft Auto is a bigger franchise than pretty much any game out there, right? But Red Dead wasn't going to win because it's not on the same level as Grand Theft Auto. Last of Us 2 is a game everybody's waiting for. So I'm not surprised that one. And then Super Mario Odyssey won for best family game, which I didn't really think is a family. Like when I voted for this, I think it was like Mario Kart Deluxe 8 or whatever, because I thought it was like a game you could play with your family. You know, I know you can play Super Mario Odyssey with your family, but when I see Super Mario Odyssey, when I watch the gameplay, it doesn't strike me as a family game. I know it's a kiddie, or at least for younger. I mean, everybody can enjoy it, from older gamers to younger gamers. But like when they call it a best family game, I just don't see the whole family sitting around playing like Super Mario Odyssey like I do with, you know, something along the lines of Mario Kart. But no, I'm not saying Last of Us is bigger than Red Dead sales-wise, because that's not going to happen, because Red Dead's going to be bigger than it sales-wise. But I think there's more love for Last of Us out there in the geek culture, in the gaming culture. More people love Last of Us than love Red Dead. Sure, Red Dead's going to sell a lot of copies, but an online voting thing, Last of Us is going to win because it's a game that people love and need to play. Red Dead Redemption is just the next game from Rockstar. I don't think it's as loved as Last of Us, even though it'll sell more. But it's also going to sell more because it's going to be on every platform, basically. And then we got another win from Cuphead. Why is there so many? I don't know. I don't know, man. I enjoy reading the chat and what people say, and I only ban people if they really go off the deep end. Of course, Jez isn't here, and Jez bans people for other reasons. So as long as everybody's being nice to each other, if you want to talk about Xbox or PlayStation and troll, I mean, I'll probably ban you if you troll too hard. But maybe I should clean up chat more. Maybe I just need to make a few people moderators, and then they should go to town and get rid of people. But Red Dead is more popular than you think. I'm not saying it's not popular. That's not what I'm saying. Of course it is. It's probably going to be one of the best-selling games next year. But in an online poll versus Last of Us 2, Last of Us 2 is going to win that online poll all the time. Now, maybe if it was, like I said, Grand Theft Auto 6, Grand Theft Auto 6 would win. But this is Last of Us we're talking about. Red Dead isn't as loved. That's the whole point. Like online polls, loves, things like that. Yo, what's going on, Kofi? I see you there. So what else we got? We got best debut indie, Cuphead, well deserved. I think, you know, like the award showed love to Cuphead. Studio MDHR, they deserve everything. You know, Cuphead's going to be in my top 10 game of the year. So I'm happy that it. Rand, are you talking about MPD? We might talk about it a little bit here at the end, but this is primarily my thoughts on Game Awards. What happened last night, and Cuphead won a lot of awards. You could argue that Cuphead and Zelda are probably the two biggest winners. In fact, you could probably argue Cuphead's the biggest winner, because Zelda's a known franchise. People expected it to win Game of the Year and stuff, but Cuphead won like 3 or 4 awards. You know, they were up there giving their speeches. So you can make the argument that Cuphead was actually the big winner for the whole night, which it's pretty cool because they deserve it. And then Fortnite came out and they announced their 50 versus 50 mode, which, I mean, Fortnite's taken over. Everybody's playing it for whatever reason. I mean, it got the jump on PUBG on consoles. It's free. People seem to really enjoy it, which is great. I'm not really one of them. I'll wait for PUBG to talk about it. I'll wait for PUBG before I play it. Maybe I'll try out Fortnite after that, but pretty cool. But what was interesting, though, was during this conversation, there was a little crossplay shade thrown at Sony. Now, I don't know why, but Jeff brought up the crossplay thing with Fortnite. And you could tell the Fortnite dude was like in a weird position because he couldn't really answer it. He went to like, oh, well, because of, platform restrictions. We want to bring this to all gamers, but we can't. I was really surprised that Jeff even brought that up, because I didn't think anybody would talk about it. I mean, I guess it's great for people that want crossplay to become a thing between PlayStation and Xbox, to see more of a global spotlight on it like it was at the award show. But to see like Jeff just go and be like, so yeah, you had PlayStation, Xbox gamers playing with each other crossplay. Is that ever coming back? And you could tell the guy was like racking his brain for something to say that wouldn't piss off Xbox, wouldn't piss off PlayStation, you know? And he was like, yeah, well, due to platform restrictions. And he, of course, wouldn't say which platform restrictions, but I thought that was kind of funny. There's some funny moments during the show. But then they went to best ongoing game, and I honestly can't even believe this is the thing now. In this era of games as a service, all this stuff, that the fact that we have a best ongoing game category for a game that does games as a service the best, and it was weird because I predicted Rainbow Six Siege. It's a game that went. It was a game that basically came out in 2015 in December, right? To lackluster sales. And yet here we are 2 years later, and it's one of the biggest games in the industry. It's just past 25 million players. It's the game that every publisher is trying to copy in some way. And it's well-deserved because it's great. So I thought it was going to win. Even though you could argue Warframe is basically what an ongoing game is. I mean, it's a free-to-play game that they constantly add new stuff to. You could, Grand Theft Auto Online is another one that's been around for 4 years now. But they give it to Overwatch. And I don't know, like, to me, when I think of ongoing game, I really don't think of Overwatch. I think of Rainbow Six Siege. I think of Warframe. I think of Grand Theft Auto Online. So Overwatch won, and I don't know. I didn't really think it deserved it. I thought there were other games more deserving of best ongoing game. But hey, it's Blizzard. They won Game of the Year last year, so I guess it should be no surprise that the same people that vote for these categories feel that Overwatch is the best at least Destiny 2 didn't win, because how could it be the best ongoing game? It came out 2 months ago or 3 months ago or whatever. But you can make the argument for Grand Theft Auto 5, Rainbow Six Siege, and Warframe for winning best ongoing game. And then you had the segment with Conan, where you licked the Yahtzee box and pretty much threw away all the all the other games that were there. Right, he threw the box away and stuff. So that was funny. Then you had the THQ Nordic game, Fade to Silence, coming out in early access 12/14/17 on PC, eventually coming to Xbox and PlayStation. But if it's like one of those survival, like you need to eat, you need to like keep warm, hunt and that stuff, I'm not going to care about that game. I don't really like those type of games. I know some people tell me to get into what was that game, The Long Hunt or The Long Night by Hinterland Games. I forget the name. It was an Xbox game preview for a long time. It finally just came out. I just can't get into those games, man. I just can't. Same the problem I had with shout out to Rump Roasterich, Munchie Fund, $10. Thank you very much, man. Thank you so much for that. It's much appreciated for the support on the channel. But The Long Dark, there we go. Like games like The Long Dark or something like We Happy Few that have those meters where you have to eat and you have to do all this stuff, and I just can't get into those games, man. I don't know what it is. They just don't do anything for me. So that game comes out somewhat soon, I guess, in early access. But then we get like the bomb. This is where the next thing, you had like 3 things in a row that were pretty awesome, and it just confirmed that I'm getting a Switch at some point, right? So they start off with the moon, and I like, we were in chat, right? And I'm like, oh my god, it's Bayonetta. Oh my god, it's Bayonetta, right? And sure enough, it was Bayonetta 2 coming to Switch, and I'm like, oh, it's just 2. They're announcing they bring it to Switch. And then they showed 1, and I'm like, oh, cool, right? And Reggie came up there, and he started talking. He's like, oh, do you think I only really had 1 announcement to make? Only 1 thing to show you? I got something else. And I'm like, oh, don't do this to me, Reggie. Don't do this to me. You're going to make me spend $300. And sure enough, you get a CGI trailer for Bayonetta 3. Oh, man. I mean, kind of didn't think they would do it. But maybe because the Nintendo Switch is such a success, they feel that maybe Bayonetta can have a bigger audience now. So I'm like, yo, all right, if you're gonna bankroll Bayonetta 3 and have all these other cool gangs out there, you know what? I'll get a Switch. I'll get a Switch. I'll get one next year or something like that. I'll play Mario Odyssey. I'll probably even play Legend of Zelda. I don't know what else is really good on this system because, like I said, I'm not that big of a Nintendo fan, but I don't know. I like the fact that they bankrolled. I like the fact that they bankrolled Bayonetta 3 because, and this is kind of not going to be a shot at Microsoft or Xbox, but more of like a plea. Like, I would love, you see, when people talk about Xbox and what it needs to succeed in the future, and they talk about exclusive games, like people want a Rise 2, or people want a Sunset Overdrive 2, or people want a Quantum Break 2, and things like that. And they know they're not going to get them, which is disappointing. But then you see Nintendo bankroll Bayonetta 3, right? And from what I understand, Bayonetta 2 didn't sell very well in the Wii U. Definitely probably not enough to, get back its developmental cost. It was just a game to put on the Switch or to put on the Wii U. And now you see them going back to the well, doing Bayonetta 3, and it's like maybe have a better chance now of meeting its what's the word? It's dev cost back. But like I look at it as like, man, I would really like to see Microsoft do that. I know, like maybe Rise didn't meet the cost and they lost money on it, or maybe Sunset Overdrive didn't meet the cost, right? And maybe Quantum Break is, but sometimes there's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes there are things greater than the money you'll get back. Sometimes there's value in keeping your fan base happy. Yes, would announcing Sunset Overdrive 2 be worth it financially from a financial aspect? Probably not. Nobody bought the first game. Nobody's probably going to buy the second, right? But is the value in keeping your fans, your hardcore fans of the system happy? If they're gonna, like, it's all about keeping your fans happy, and I think there's not a dollar sign you can put on that. So it's great to see Nintendo doing that with Bayonetta 3. Do I play Gears? No, man. I don't like Gears multiplayer. I don't play Gears multiplayer at all. I'm very, very bad at that game. I never liked the multiplayer in that game. But we can probably play. I mean, I do have pretty much every game on Xbox. Yeah, Chicken Spaghetti says it right. It's all about building goodwill. It's about the intangibles. I mean, I know they're not going to make money if they make Rise 2. It's probably going to not do that well, but there's something you can't put a dollar sign on with, like, making your hardcore fans happy. And that would do it. That would make your hardcore fans happy. But I'm not sure Microsoft is going to do that. But either way, Bayonetta 3 on the Switch. It seems like it's going to be a well-supported platform, and man, I'm going to have to get one. I'm just going to have to. I thought for a long time, I was like, I'm skipping the Switch, and then, it seems like a lot of developers are, taking to it. A lot of fans are taking to it. So, I mean, next year, maybe when it gets a price drop, $250 or something, it's a little bit too, I mean, $300 right now, it's a little bit too expensive for me for how much I'll use it, but I'm definitely going to get one. But the next game they showed was Death Stranding. And my lord, okay, what do you even say about Death Stranding? I don't, like, it's a game that I'm really interested in because of the pedigree of who's making it. But it's also a game that I don't know anything about. And nobody in chat knows anything about Death Stranding, right? Like nothing. Like it's just like you watch that and you're like, okay, this is cool. I don't know what's going on, but it looks great. I want to play it. I just don't know when I'm going to play it. It's just, what is going on in that game? I don't know what else to say other than, like, man, I hope it comes out soon. Like I hope it comes out in a couple years at least. I don't know. The fact that they didn't have a date on the trailer says it ain't next year, and I doubt it's even 2019. Something tells me we're looking at 2020 at the earliest, which isn't that big of a deal. I just, man, I just don't know what to expect with that. I don't know what's going on. Like with all the other games that they show that they come out, you know what to expect, and like you get it. Like you watch a trailer and you understand the concept of the game, like what it's going to be like, what's the story going to be like, and things like that. I've seen 3 trailers now for Death Stranding, and I still could not tell you anything about the game. I couldn't tell you if it's a third-person action adventure game, it's a first-person game, if it's a stealth game, it's a horror game. I have no clue, which is weird after 3 trailers, because you figure most games have 3 trailers. You could tell what the game is and what its story is going to be after that first trailer. But this one, we're at 3 now, and it's just like, I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to be, which is kind of cool in itself. So hopefully 2020, I guess. Although I did see people talking about it coming to PC, which I did recall them saying something like that. That originally, when it was announced that they were going to bring it, it was like timed exclusive to PS4, but then it'll come out to PC. So I guess that's the case. And then Jay says you're not supposed to understand what it is. I guess so. It does look. I mean, I'm cool with the artsy fartsy stuff, so it's up there with me. It's just, I don't know. Like when I pick of like and most anticipated games, I'm just like Death Stranding. It is not in my top 10 just because like when I do my top 10 for next year, it's like it's got a game coming out in 2018. It's got to have a date. Like that game, no date, so it's like I can't really include it. But then we have Sea of Thieves, which I did a video about earlier today. Release date is March 20th. And, I understand what I could probably picture Microsoft, and when they originally made this trailer, they're like, hey, March 20th is a good date. No other games are around it. We're a fairly big enough game. Rare's next new IP. I've played it. I really can't talk about it because I'm under NDA. But it's like, all right, you know what? March 20th seems like a good date. And then suddenly it's like, wait a minute. Then the God of War date leaked, and it's March 22nd. And then A Way Out was announced tonight, and that's, March 23rd. And then and then Ubisoft delays all their games and delays Far Cry 5 a month. So now Far Cry 5 is coming out on March 27th. So now suddenly you have all these games coming out right around Sea of Thieves, and it's like, whew, I don't know, man. Maybe you should go and rethink that release date for a second there. But I made a video about it. You guys can check that out if you want to. Then they showed Witchfire from Hazelight, which looked pretty cool. It's from people who did, I forget the name, but it was like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, along with the devs of like Painkiller and Bulletstorm. So that seemed pretty cool. And then you got the segment that everybody is talking about, basically. The guy from A Way Out, Joseph or whatever, doing the Oscars, trashing EA, making Jeff look really uncomfortable on stage. Really uncomfortable. And I was dying during that whole segment. I was just dying of laughter. It was just I couldn't believe that the dude just grabbed the mic and was like, this is my moment to shine. This is my moment to shine. And he was just going off about it. It was great. It was great to watch. I'm sure it wasn't great for Jeff because he wants the Game Awards to be like respected, like the Oscars is. So when you have a dude come out there and saying F the Oscars, and that kind of gets national coverage, people kind of look down at it. I've already seen people on Twitter and forums kind of hate on that segment, but James, you should have been there, man. That segment was insane. But man, I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe he did that live, and there was nothing Jeff could do about it. You could see it on his face. Like Jeff wanted to laugh, but he wanted to cry at the same time. Another thing I mentioned about Sea of Thieves is that they also have a new controller coming out alongside the game. And it's pretty damn good looking controller. Unfortunately, I just got 2 new Xbox controllers, the gray and white one, or the gray and green one, and the Recon Tech. So I'm set for a while. But if Xbox wants to send me that one for a review, I'll take it because it looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's like $75 Sea of Thieves controller, so that'll go along with the game. Pretty cool looking controller, glows in the dark. So that's cool. Whatever. But yeah, that segment was just that segment was just fire, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, I wasn't expecting anything like that when I tuned in to watch it. Nobody was. I mean, how could you be, right? How could you expect that? But after that, the Game Awards kind of, like, I don't know, just kind of got boring because it went on way too long. I mean, it started at 7:30, didn't end till 10:30, so it was on for 3 hours. You didn't need it to be 3 hours. But we got to see Dreams from Media Molecule finally. That's coming out, at least says 2018. I mean, I don't know what the game is. I guess it's like a little like Little Big Planet mixed with Project Spark, where you make your own games. I have no clue. Looks kind of cool, but those type of games aren't for me either. So then you had Hellblade. They won Games for Impact and Best Performance, which is great because Hellblade is an amazing game that everybody should play. Everybody. Such a fantastic experience. Definitely going to be in my top 10. And man, if she didn't win Best Performance, then the award has no meaning because the whole game is based on her, like how she performed and her voice acting and stuff. And it also won Best Audio, good, because it deserved it, because the audio in that game is so great with all the voices in your head and things like that. So I'm so glad that Hellblade won all those awards. And then you got the game that came out afterwards for what probably is the best name of a game ever. It's called Gtfo, and it's a 4-player co-op game from the makers of Payday. Looked pretty cool. I don't know much about it, but that was great. And then you had a little trailer for... Rand, I missed the guy who called out Sony for X-Play. What happened? Yeah, so Jeff just asked him, they had crossplay earlier, and why would they ever have it again? And he beat it around the bush, and he was saying it was because of platform restrictions. But it was just kind of funny because I didn't expect them to actually give that any kind of airtime, But they showed a trailer for Metro Exodus. Can't wait for that game. And now it has a fall 2018 moniker to it. So that'll be pretty cool. Hopefully it doesn't slip to 2019 because you never know. That could always kind of slip, And then Game of the Year. Well, Game of the Year and Game Direction and Action Adventure game. Legend of Zelda, which I had said it was going to be Mario in my predictions. And then even during the show, I said PUBG was going to win. And I'm going to explain myself here because the way they were doing it was they were announcing a game. And then if it had won a previous award, sometimes they would also be like, and so-and-so won this award too. So when we were looking at what awards were left, and it was just Game of the Year, and they hadn't announced Best Multiplayer yet, my mind immediately went to, okay, PUBG is going to win, right? And they're just going to say it won Best Multiplayer. And I was so convinced that was going to happen because Zelda got its award, Persona got its award, Mario got an award, right? Horizon Zero Dawn didn't, but I felt like since they hadn't announced Best Multiplayer, they were just going to combine it with PUBG winning Game of the Year. So I was like, oh my God, it's going to win. They still haven't announced Best Multiplayer winner yet. I went to their website earlier and they still didn't have that up. So I don't know what the heck happened there. But yeah, Zelda won, which... I don't know. Like, it's weird because both Zelda and Mario have like the same Metacritic score, and I thought maybe Mario would win because it's actually newer in gamers' minds and journalists' minds, because Zelda came out in March and Mario came out in October, so that's why I picked to win it. But all in all, I thought it was a great show. I thought, for the most part, the right games won. There was some really cool trailers shown, teases for From Software's game. Bayonetta announced for the Switch. a 9-minute commercial for Death Stranding, which just raises more questions than it answers. I mean, you had like little aborted babies. You had all this stuff in Death Stranding, and it was just confusing but awesome, right? A game that everybody thought was canceled. Dreams actually show up and have a trailer. And all in all, for the most part, I thought it was a great show. I thought they showed a lot of cool stuff. It just went on for way too long. It didn't need to be 3 hours long at all, right? At least from my perspective, I didn't like. There should have been 2 hours. 2 hours had actually give more awards on stage instead of reading them off. That's kind of my only complaint with the show. But otherwise, I thought it was a really good show. I thought it was. So, I did see somebody say they wanted me to talk about the NPD stuff. Which I mean, I guess I could talk about. So there was this thread on Reset Era that somebody leaked the NPD information. It was like PlayStation 1 and then Xbox and then Switch. And it was like the numbers came out, but I guess the numbers aren't right. Right? Both Z Huge and Matt from NPD both said the order is correct. So PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, but necessarily the numbers are wrong. So, and from what they're saying, both PlayStation and Xbox broke records individually. Like PlayStation broke PlayStation records, Xbox broke Xbox records. So it sounds like the 199 PlayStation and the 189 Xbox did well. So the real thing's going to come out in another days, but considering you already have people saying that it's right, it's just that the numbers are kind of a little bit wrong. Yeah. So I already had people tweeting me that Xbox is dead because it couldn't beat PlayStation, but of course that's kind of stupid. But I kind of figured that would happen because if Xbox can't beat PlayStation, then it's a failure, which is about as far as it from it could be. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing there. So I don't know if anybody got any more questions about anything. Let me know, and I will be sure to answer them. Otherwise, I don't know what else to really say about the Game Awards. I mean, all my thoughts are there. I mean, it was a great show. It wasn't like there was any controversy. It wasn't like PUBG won Game of the Year or something where you could have somebody on and like have them like complain about an early access game coming to winning Game of the Year. So that didn't happen. So it was free from controversy other than the Way Out dude just going off on EA and all that stuff, but which was a fantastic segment. So pretty great. At least enjoyable from that perspective. Will we get a season 2 of D4? No. There definitely not be a season 2 of D4. I'm pretty sure they said that wasn't going to happen. Rand, what do you want to see in Sea of Thieves to make you want to play for a long time? Interesting question, James. Like, I played it. I played it both at E3 back in 2016, and I played it during the alpha. My concern is that I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what the gameplay loop is and if it's going to engage me that long. Because, like, if the game is just like you get on your ship and you get a treasure map and you set sail with your friends and you find an island and you build, you fight off the skeletons and you find out where the hidden treasure is and you dig it up and then you take that treasure chest back to the ship and then you just kind of do that over and over and over again. I'm not sure how long that is going to be fun for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there has to be some sort of more engaging gameplay loop than get on ship, find treasure, get treasure, sell treasure, and get customization stuff. Personally, since I'm a single player dude and I like story in my games, I would love it if there was a story an overarching story in the game that you could play through to kind of like have something to like uh, have a reason for doing what you're doing, and even maybe like a raid. Like if there was some sort of like where you need to get a whole bunch of pirate ships to come together to defeat this one thing on the map and get all this cool stuff. That would be cool. And I mean, say I've only played it a couple times, so maybe all that stuff's in the game. It's just not in the alpha stuff. But I don't know. I'm interested in playing the game for myself, and we'll see. I mean, I could see myself putting a good 20 hours into the game and stuff. But here's the thing, I don't play games for a long time. I played Destiny for 50, 60 hours, and that was it. Uh, I'm not looking for a 300-hour experience. I'm looking for just a good core experience for 20 to 30 to 40 hours. That's all I want. I'm not looking to play Sea of Thieves for 100 hours. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask there. Face wants to know if Microsoft will change the release date for Sea of Thieves. I don't think so. I don't think they will. I think that is the release date for the game, regardless of what other games come out at that point. I think they're very confident in the title, and I don't see them moving it. So I think March 20th is the date for the game. Rand, what do you think about Microsoft's presence or lack thereof in the awards show? It's going to be a huge lull between now and E3. I mean, they showed the trailer for Sea of Thieves. Is it a little bit disappointing that we don't know when State of Decay 2 and Crackdown are coming out? Yeah. Could they have given out another trailer for those games? Sure, but maybe just they don't know when those games are coming out. Maybe they aren't ready to announce the release for that yet, Oh, no, my dog has to stay overnight at the vet's. Poor doggy. And he's got to get surgery too. Poor Barnaby. That's my dog's name. Poor dog. Anyways, do you still think Crackdown 3 looks like trash? No, I don't think so. I mean, I thought the game was going to be fine. I just wasn't a fan of how Microsoft was presenting it. But I don't know. Those are all my thoughts on the Game Awards stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this kind of impromptu podcast thing. If you did, make sure you hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. Helps out the channel a lot more than people think it does. It like really does help when people give you a thumbs up and whatnot, because it goes in the algorithms and all that stuff. And YouTube heavily promotes it. Then, considering most of my videos get demonetized, and then YouTube doesn't doesn't really send them out to subscribers and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully we'll find out more about Death Stranding eventually, and Sea of Thieves and all that good stuff. It's always cool doing these kind of impromptu things. I'm going to be watching PSX tonight to see what Sony has to talk about, and then maybe I'll do a live show tomorrow to talk about whatever they show. So thanks guys for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button, sub if you haven't, and I'll see everybody in the next one, the next video or next show. Later, guys. Have a good one.